Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my yoga channel. If you've been a regular practitioner with MBODY Yoga, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Not only does it help others find my online yoga classes, but it keeps you notified when new classes are posted. I do my best to have new classes for you each week. Thanks so much for your continued support. Now, on to class. Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. This is Soft Flow Yoga, a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So for our practice today, I've called it Freedom to Flow. So we're just going to add some fluid, flowy movements to our practice today, including our breaking down of postures and moving from pose to pose. Let's just add some fluidity. Very simple, just moving with breath. Alrighty, so for our props, just the usual things. I'm actually sitting on one of the props that we like to use, and that's just a soft blanket or a towel that you can just fold up. We like to use a couple of yoga blocks or something firm and stackable, like a couple of hardbound books. And I've got my yoga bolster. Sometimes I use this in practice, sometimes I don't. It's just nice to have something soft to either sit on or even use for something like Shavasana, where you might want to elevate your legs, for example. So for our main things, really just the blanket or towel and then your yoga blocks. Let's go ahead and start in a seated position. I like to cross my legs in half lotus. If this feels comfortable for you, you can sit like this, or easy pose, just kind of crossing at the shins. Or if you need to extend one leg or both legs, even sit in a chair or up against a wall if you need to for this first portion of our practice. We will be seated for a good portion of the beginning of the class before we get into other postures. So make sure you feel comfortable. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall with a lengthened spine, shoulders feel relaxed, and arms are just resting down by your side. Feel free to keep your eyes open, and if you keep them open, just gaze forward or downward, just a soft, easy gaze. Or if you close your eyes, imagine that you're looking inside. And then start with breath. Maybe start with a few deep breaths. Nice big expansive breaths, just the awareness that you are breathing, bringing awareness to the breath. Very good. And just continue with slow, steady breaths here. Continuing to be fully aware of your breathing. So you want to be able to feel your breath. Feel the breath move through your body. And even listen to the sound of your breath. That means turning up the volume of your breath. Just do that so you can feel and hear. Slow, steady breaths. Even though we're just sitting in stillness, just paying attention to the breath, we've already started the practice of yoga and even starting to dive into the theme of our practice today. The freedom to flow. So the fluid motion right now is just the movement of your breath. Imagine the breath was like, let's say, an ocean wave, or maybe a leaf blowing in the breeze, or if the wind had an image that it just flows. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Just feeling the freedom of the flow of your breath. Just to bring more awareness to your breath as you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward to fill your lungs. Very expansive feeling. And as you exhale, just draw your navel inward toward your spine. It's just an inward connection. An inward feeling, drawing inward. Inhale, feeling breath rise, fill up your lungs, expanding through the chest area. Exhale, draw in, mostly in the belly area, drawing navel inward toward your spine, creating what's called the abdominal lock. A light contraction of your abdominal muscles. . In a moment, we'll start moving the body, a very simple movement. But first, take 3 more breaths. And then when you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out and all the way up into the air. Reaching, treat it like a nice stretch. Then as you exhale, extend your arms out and let them float back down by your side. Let's do that again together. Inhale, extend your arms out with good effort. Feel as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you and eventually touching the ceiling. That's the in-breath, and as you exhale, same thing. Nice expansion, reaching sensation all the way out and back down. Now go ahead and continue to move and breathe at your own pace. Again, the freedom to flow, moving with the breath. And that's what we really want to dial into in this practice, that it's the breath that's giving us the opportunity to move, to flow. The breath is moving you. So this is our first fluid motion. Now we do this with both arms up and down usually. We're going to do something a little different in a moment and just do one arm. Take your time, just moving at the pace of your breath. So don't worry about following my exact movements. Maybe you'll just close your eyes and just follow your own rhythm. Now, finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. When you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down by your side. Maybe your hands just rest in your lap and let your shoulders relax for a moment. Take another breath. We're going to do the same arm movement. We're only going to do one arm at a time. So just follow me, just again, getting into the rhythm and flow and freedom of the flow. So you're just going to take your right hand maybe out to the side. You can just place it on your mat, or if you need a little lift, maybe a block or a book. If you're on the right side, we're going to be working with the left arm. And we're going to be reaching. You can just watch me at first. I'm just going to inhale, reach up, and then overhead, and just a little bend in the side body. But then come back and up and bring the arm down. So that's our movement. So we'll do that 3 to 5 times. Here we go. Inhale, reaching out and up, reaching for the ceiling. And as you reach overhead, and feel that nice little stretch through the side body. And then back up, around, and down. That's our first one. Here we go. Inhale, reach, stretch, back up and down. Again. Let's do that 2 more times. Reach, up, stretch, lengthen. Make sure you're breathing one last time. And inhale, reach up. Finishing, and maybe an exhale to come back up and around and down. Go ahead and rest. Just bring some energy and flow to the body, some nourishment through the shoulder there. Let's do the other side. So 5 times. Here we go. Inhale, reaching up. Finishing the whole inhale when I finish the reaching, and then an exhale to come back up and around and down. 4 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Very gentle, very smooth. Last one. Exhale. Very nice. All right, just come back to stillness. Let your arms relax. Let your shoulders relax. Now from here, you're just going to bring your hands behind you. Just prop yourself up onto your fingertips, so just makes your arms longer. And with the arms behind you, it naturally draws the shoulders back. But with a little extra effort, roll the shoulders back even more to really open up through the chest area. And just lift your chin just a little bit so you don't strain your neck. We're just opening up the heart space and creating a mild back bend. Now, inhale, press into the ground with your fingers. Feel that energy shoot right up the arms and shoulders, and breathing in to fill up your lungs. And then you exhale, draw your belly button in towards your spine, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you, just providing a little bit more engagement in the upper back body. Feel your muscles contract. Inhale, press into the floor, breath rising, filling up your lungs. Nice expansive feeling across the chest. Exhale, draw belly in, roll those shoulders back. 2 more like this. Even though it's a fairly simple posture, there's a lot of energy established here. Then go ahead and lower your chin when you're ready. Walk your hands towards yourself so you're sitting up nice and tall, arms just resting in your lap. Take a breath. So that was our mild back bend. Let's take a forward fold. We're going to reposition our legs and feet so we're coming to cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. So the feet, soles of the feet touching. It's creating the angle here. The binding part is just holding on to the shins or ankles or even your toes. But you want to be able to sit up nice and tall initially. Now, inhale, feel taller than before, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, draw belly in for support of the body in motion as you hinge forward just a little bit. What I forgot to bring in, I usually do, bring in those blocks. I like to bring in blocks and tuck them underneath the legs so the legs feel like they're resting rather than just hanging open. So if you want to do that, feel free. And let's continue. Inhale, extending through the spine, get a little longer and taller. Exhale, draw belly in, and leading with your heart and your chin, just hinge forward a tiny bit more. We don't move too quickly, too forcefully, or too quickly in this class. We take our time and go in these little incremental movements. And because of that, sometimes it can feel a little choppy as far as our movements. That's why I wanted to introduce the freedom of flowing, and we'll get into more of that a little bit later. So here, if you like, you can even lower your chin around your back just to create a little bit more space so you can fold a little deeper if that feels all right to you. Remember, we're only working at about 60 to 70% as we move into this pose in any pose that we do, so that we can really kind of pull away from trying to force ourselves or push, because I think that's what happens in our everyday lives, that we really force ourselves and push extra hard. But sometimes we don't always have to do that. We should take the time, and I like to enhance that in this class, take the time to slow down and take your time with the intention of taking really good care of yourself. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, if you did lower your chin, just lift your chin a little bit to help re-extend the neck and the spine. And then hinge your way up. You can even press your hands into the floor to help assist yourself to sit up until you're tall right here in your seat. If you were using some props, let's go ahead and just set those to the side. Another pause here. And then we're going to make our way to hands and knees. So maneuver your body carefully so you can come to your hands and knees. This is where you might want to use something soft underneath you. I'm just going to unfold my blanket so it's a little longer. So I get my hands and knees right here on the blanket. So we have formed a little tabletop position, ready to move into cat pose and cow pose. It's a fluid motion starting with cow, and this is kind of a freedom of flow through the body. So with an inhale to lift head and heart, arching the back, creating a little back bend. Exhale, round it all out. Chin to chest. Feel the belly button pull up towards spine, and of course that curvature of the spine. And just continue that. Inhale. Feel the pelvis tip back. The belly will drop. There's that back bend. Heart opener. Exhale, tuck pelvis underneath. Belly button pulls up towards spine. Rounded back body, chin to chest. Now I'm going pretty slowly here just to break it down, but you move at your own pace. This fluid motion through the whole torso, that rocking feeling of the pelvis. We're going to add something in a moment, but first, just get into this unilateral flow of the back, your spine, your pelvis. Feeling how the head lifts up and down. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. We're going to do something else on our hands and knees here, but we're going to take a quick little break. So just pause here on hands and knees. This could be a lot of pressure on the wrist, so let's take a little break from the wrist. Go ahead and tuck your toes behind you and start to sit back. I call this half hero, just because we're not sitting all the way back and down, just enough to get off the hands, and so that we can give a little love to the hands and wrists. What I sometimes like to do is flip the hands the other way and gently press, or a little pulse of the top of the hand into my blanket here, like 2 or 3 times. I'm going to do the other side. Just a little counter movement for the wrist before we come back out onto the wrist, because a lot of poses that we do are on our hands, and we get this force flexed feeling that can kind of fatigue the wrist here, okay? So once you've done that little massage, let's come back out to hands and knees, but we're going to get into the hips. I'm going to turn to face you this first to do this so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So ideally, when we're in this posture, you really can't see it, but the hips are directly above the knees, okay, when we're in this posture. But we're going to move the knees together, legs together, maybe even take the hands out a little wider. Can you see that? And what I'm going to do is actually shift and move my hips to one side. I'm just really kind of sitting into the right hip over there, and that really feels good for me, at least, in that right hip area. I'm just kind of massaging it. I'm just kind of rocking forward and back to give it a bit of massage. And then I'm going to go over to the other side. So the legs together just allow me to shift the hips, and the hands that are wide on the floor just give me some stability so I don't fall out of the posture. Another thing you can do here is actually make some circles. I'm just going around, kind of back and around and forward. A little circle, maybe 2 or 3 times one direction, 2 or 3 times in the other direction. Okay? So let's just add that as a nice flow. So we're going to go to the right, to the left, and create a circle from the back and around to the front. 2 more. Over to the right for the stretch, to the left for the stretch, back and around to the front. One last time. To the right, there's that nice stretch. To the left, circle around to the front. Just getting into the hips a little bit. Let's do our half hero again. Tuck your toes. Sit back, get off the hands. Maybe a little circle here is nice in the wrists. Pressing the tops of the hands. Little pulse, not too hard. Alrighty, we're going to be going back onto our hands, but first let's move our cushion out of the way here. If you were using some padding, let's move that to the side. Come back out to hands and knees. We'll get set up for downward facing dog. So we start here, but go ahead and step your hands forward a little bit, and as you do so, spread out your fingers pretty wide so you feel a stretch between each finger. Your wrists are now out from underneath the shoulder, okay? So a nice angled arm here. And then grip your mat with your fingertips just to feel a good connection to the ground, and also lean into the hand so it stretches open the palms. And as you press, you might even feel the arms feel a little stronger. That's what we want. Now tuck your toes. We'll do one more cat-cow. So inhale, lift head and heart, arching the back. Exhale, round it out. Hold that cat pose as you now lift your knees and hips float into the air. You'll be in downward facing dog. Take the time as you need to adjust your feet. What I did was tiptoed forward a little bit and even took my feet a little wider. You can even take your hands a little wider on your mat, just to make some space in your shoulders. Here's another flow we're going to add here. So we're going to gently bring knees back down to the floor. Flatten the feet if you want. That's an option here, because you're going to sit back, send the hips towards the heels into a kind of a child's pose. Just going to sit and sink, and then come right back up to hands and knees. Tuck toes, lift knees and hips. Even feel kind of the sinking of the chest between the arms. That's our flow. Shift forward,
Set the knees down. Keep toes tucked or flatten the feet. Send hips back towards heels. Sink the chest, lower your head, child's pose. Come right back up to your hands and knees. Tuck toes so you can lift knees and hips. As hips rise, feel the chest sink between the arms. Let's do that one more time. Just breathing in and out. Just a natural flow of the breath as the body's in motion. Coming back up, we'll meet together in down dog. Here we are. Take a breath. We're going to take a few steps forward until the feet are underneath us. Feet are flat on the mat. Slide your fingertips towards your toes. You'll be in a forward fold. Now we're going to inhale and slide the hands up to the shins or knees, only rising up halfway so we form this tabletop position so your torso is parallel to the floor. Keep the neck neutral. Your gaze is directly down at the floor. Keep a good bend in the knees. Feel the automatic engagement of your core body, maybe your belly, your abdominal system, and the natural engagement of the hamstrings here so you can hold yourself in place. Now shift your weight back a little bit into your heels. Bend your knees, lower your hips like you're sitting down into a chair while lifting the chest. Take your arms out to the side. Drive your heels into the floor to help straighten your legs. Grow tall. Reach up high into the sky, straight arms, and exhale, bring your arms down to your side. And there we are. We've made it to mountain pose. Let's just do a quick flow of the arms. Inhale, reaching out and up. Very similar to what we did seated. We'll just do it standing. Exhale, back down. Just do it 2 more times. Inhale, reach out and up. Getting those shoulders moving. Exhale. I don't know about you, but sometimes my shoulders get so tight. So it's just nice to bring a little bit of movement to them. Reaching into the air. This is our last time. Exhale, arms back down. And then those circles. We always like to add a little circle for the shoulders here. A few times backward and a few times forward. So it's just experiencing this natural flow of the body. Kind of think about what you do during the day. And if you're not very active, maybe you sit at a desk for many hours at a time, or you're sitting and driving for many hours at a time, your body can get quite stiff. And so, if you have a nice yoga practice that you do occasionally, wonderful. And then in between, just add these nice natural flows of the body. Just raise your arms up into the air while seated at your desk, and then bring them back down. Okay, let's do our half salute to the sun. We're going to fold forward and come right back up. Let's take our time as we inhale, reach both arms into the air. Another nice stretch. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees and sit back and slowly down into the imaginary chair. As we fold, bringing your belly down towards your thighs. Drop the hands, let your head lower. Here's our forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. We're going to hold here on the exhale like we did earlier, our long flat back. The pose is simply called half forward fold. That makes sense, right? Shifting the weight into the heels, bend your knees, lift the chest, spread your wings so you can float right back up to standing, reaching into the air. Exhale, arms back down by your side. Wonderful. All right, let's do our variation of Warrior 1. We're going to add something to it, okay, and then actually add a flow. So mountain pose, balanced on 2 feet. Soften the knees here and keep them slightly bent. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Press into the ground with the right foot. Feel the energy and strength of that right leg. Then feel tall up top, lengthening through the spine. That's an inhale to assist that. Exhale, draw belly in for security. I'm leaning forward just a tiny bit so I can easily pick up my left foot and start tapping it back, heel lifted, toes flexed. And just back until it just naturally stops. It won't go any farther without forcing it. I'm going to pivot, turn, press, or just really set that left heel down onto the floor. The leg turned outward. You can see my toes are turned out. Let's keep this right knee slightly bent. You're really just right in the center, pretty well balanced here. Let's place hands on hips. Push pelvis down as you feel the extension through the torso, and then just turn to face mostly forward here. Inhale, extend your arms up into the air. Exhale, bend your elbows to about 90 degrees. So this is a variation of Warrior 1 that we typically do in our practice, just to introduce a lunge,
and just holding a lunging position, but with a modification. A couple of breaths. Now go ahead and inhale and extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, bring your arms back down by your side. Actually bring hands to hips. We're going to change this a little bit. We're going to see if we can widen the stance just a little. But first, let me just shift weight. Just follow me. Shifting weight into the right foot. I'm lifting that back heel and just step back just a little further. I just took a step. Alrighty? So I'm widening the stance just so that I can now straighten the legs. Okay? Feel very tall. You can see how I drew my fingers up. That's the feeling you want to have. Bent knees to straight legs, lifting up all the way through the torso. Here we're going to extend the arms out to the side. So I'm kind of facing you. Arms extended, reaching towards the front end of the mat and the back end of the mat. And I reach forward a little bit, okay, just to angle the upper half of the body just a little, and then rotate the arms. So the right hand will come down, left hand will come up. Actually, I'm going to change this and just bend the elbow, okay, just so it's a little bit more relaxed right here. And in a moment, we're going to make this kind of a fluid motion, kind of getting into the hips and the knee and really the strength of the legs. So this is a variation of triangle pose. First, let's re-extend this left arm up into the air. Let's bring this left hand down. Let's go ahead and bring both hands to hips. You can see I'm still kind of bent, okay, just at this angle. Keep this angle. What we're going to do here is bend the right knee. And when we bend it, make sure it doesn't shoot past your toes. See how that went way out past there? It changes the angle. We're going to keep that straight up and down line. So you're not really bending too far. So bend. Pull back. Okay, so we're going to inhale, lunge, exhale, pull. Inhale, lunge, exhale, pull. Feel like the pull is coming from this back hip. Two more. Inhale, lunge, exhale. Last one. May not feel like much this first time, but we're going to do it again later when we're in our second variation of the posture. Let's tip our way back up, turn forward, lunge or bend this right knee, lean into this right foot so I can pick up the left foot, bring the feet together. Let's extend both arms up into the air just to realign the body and bring the arms back down by your side. Let's do the same thing on the other side. First, feel balanced on 2 feet. Let's soften the knees, keep them bent. Shifting weight into left foot, root into the floor, strong connection, feel tall up top, lengthen spine. Exhale to engage and support. I'm leaning forward slightly so I can pick up the right foot, tap it back until the leg doesn't go back anymore. That's part of it. It's a hip thing. Okay, just go back as far as it will go. Heel lifted, toes flexed. I'm going to pivot and turn that leg so I can press down into the heel, sitting into the center of this pose. Let's place hands on hips, push pelvis down as I lengthen through the torso and turn forward. So there is a slight bend in both legs, mostly in this front leg. Let's inhale, take both arms up. Exhale, bend elbows at 90 degrees. So it's a variation of warrior one. Warrior one. So facing forward in our lunge, of course, not too much distance between the feet. We're going to get set up for our triangle pose and then do a little flow. Here we go. Inhale, take the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Bring hands to hips. Okay, we're going to shift forward, put some weight into this front foot so I can pick up that back foot and really just take a step back. Not too far, but enough where we can create that lengthening of both legs. Remember, you're feeling like everything's rising up through the legs and torso, and then extend the arms out to the side like so. Now we're ready for our triangle. We're going to reach forward just a little bit, angled upper body, rotate here. So my left hand is really right up at my left thigh. Right hand reaching into the air initially. We're going to bend that elbow just to help kind of relax that shoulder. Now with this lengthened front leg, I'm getting a light stretch in the hamstring. We're going to feel it more when we get to the second version of it. Let's inhale, re-extend the right arm up. Exhale, bring the arm down. Let's place hands on hips. Let's do our little flow with the lunge. Okay, we're going to inhale, bend the knee, not going past the heel or ankle. Exhale, pull it back.
feeling like you're being drawn from this back hip. Inhale, lunge. It's not very far. Exhale, pull and extend. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, extend. 1 more. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, extend. We're going to come back up. Nice and tall here. Turn torso forward. Bend this left knee, lunge into it, get some weight into this left foot so I can pick up the right foot, step forward, feet together. Then inhale, take both arms up into the air. There we are. Exhale, arms return to your side. Good. Let's do another circle of the shoulders. Roll them back a few times, roll them forward a few times. All right, let's get into our sun salutation. Starting in mountain pose, and this is going to take us to the second versions of Warrior 1. We'll be adding a Warrior 2, and we'll be doing our triangle, and we'll do that same lunge flow. Here we go. Inhale, reaching both arms all the way up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back and down into an imaginary chair. Belly will come down towards thighs. Let the hands come down, let your head go heavy, and move towards the floor. Inhale, slide your hands back up to the shins or knees to re-extend your spine so you're long like a table. Exhale, we're going to fold again. Bend your knees even more, round your back even more. Take your time so you can get low enough to get your hands on the floor, on the mat, and start stepping, walking, both feet to the back end of your mat. Take your time with this, and once you're there, just kind of straighten the body like so. Your shoulders will most likely be over the wrists. There's another position where you get that force flexed feeling. Inhale just to extend a little bit more. Exhale, bend your knees so you can send your hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Let's do that same flow we did earlier. We brought the knees down. Keep toes tucked or flatten the feet. Send the hips back towards heel. Sink the chest. Lower the head. Come right back up. Hands and knees, tuck your toes, maybe an exhale to help lift the knees and hips, right into down dog. Feel the chest sink between the arms. 2 more times. Shift forward, knees come down, sit back, lower your head, child's pose. Come back up, hands and knees. Tuck toes, lift knees and hips, sink chest between arms, down dog. 1 more time, gently set the knees down. Lengthen the feet if you like. Sit back, heels or hips towards heels. Sink the chest. Child's pose. Come back up. Hands and knees, tuck toes, and exhale to lift knees, hips into the sky, chest between the arms. Now, let's go for our lunges. Pick up your right foot, and with an inhale, extend your right leg back behind you. Don't worry about the height. With the exhale, bend that right knee. You're going to bring that right knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your body forward, shoulders over wrists, and just set the right foot down. Doesn't matter where, just set it down. Heel will be lifted. Set your left knee onto the floor. Okay, let's take some of that pressure off the hands, kind of walk or step back. You're going to use your free right hand here to go get your right foot, pick it up. I'm just grabbing at the ankle and stepping it forward closer to the top edge of the mat. Replace the hands, re-lift the left knee. See, now there's more distance between the feet. We're going to pivot or turn that left heel to the floor, stepping the hands back so I can actually get some more weight in that back foot. Rising up onto fingertips to extend my torso, so I'm pointing forward. Lengthened spine. Strength of the foot and leg and hip, so I can inhale, rise up, reach into the air, straight arms. Exhale, kind of lunge and sink into our second version of Warrior 1. Okay, feels a little different from the first one. Certainly more distance between the feet, arms extended. Inhale here. Exhale, open. Here's our Warrior 2 position.
Okay, so I'm facing you, so the torso is facing the left side of the room, right knee bent, lunging, shin straight up and down. What I like to do and usually need to do, I need to turn my back foot. I like to turn those toes outward so it doesn't aggravate my knee. When I have it turned in, it just feels kind of crunchy in my knee there. So I'm just turning it out so things just feel more aligned. So here's our warrior two. Follow me into side angle. Reach forward. Okay, nice angled upper body. Let's rotate the arms here. Right arm or hand just against the inner right leg. Left hand reaching into the air. This is side angle pose. So there is a bend in the knee. A lot of strength building in the lower half of the body to maintain the posture. Now, we're going to come back up to a warrior two. I'm just rotating the arms and coming back up to parallel. Let's rest those arms for a moment. Rest those shoulders. Place hands on hips. Let's extend the leg. Okay, with an exhale, perhaps lengthen the leg here. Okay, now we're getting ready for that triangle pose. Let's re-extend the arms. Reach out, just angled upper body, rotate the body here. Straight up with this left hand, straight down with the right. Nice hamstring stretch. This might feel different now that there's a little bit more distance between the feet. You might feel this a little bit more in the right hamstring. Now here comes our flow. Here's what we'll do. We'll bend the right knee, lunge, come up and pass through a warrior two. I'm going to add another pose here. Reverse the warrior. Reaching up into the air. Reversed warrior. Let's add something else here. Reach up, and as you're reaching up, as if you're trying to grab something and lift yourself up and straighten that front leg. And then rotate the arms again. So you're bringing the right hand down, left hand up, and return to triangle. So that'll be our flow. Again, bend the right knee, lunge. Come up, pass through warrior two, reverse your warrior, right hand up into the air. Keep reaching to help extend the leg. Rotate, back down to your triangle. One more time. Lunge, warrior two, reverse warrior. I'm going to call this reverse triangle by extending this right leg. Let's come back up here and actually just bend the right knee just to finish. Back to our warrior two. All right, let's take the left hand up and around and forward, reaching both arms forward, facing forward, and then fold. Both hands are ready to catch ourselves, hands on the mat. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press firmly into the mat with the hands. Slide this right foot back into plank pose. Bend the knees, send the hips into the air. Let's just do one more flow here of the child's pose to down dog. Knees to the floor. Sit back, child pose. Feel that nice little sinking sensation. Come back up to hands and knees. Tuck toes, lift knees and hips into the sky. Chest sinks between the arms. Now we're ready for the other side. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air. Once again, don't worry about the height of the leg. It's more about the energetic extension of the leg. As you exhale, bend this left knee. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest as you shift your whole upper body forward, shoulders over your wrists. Set the left foot down. Heel will be lifted. Set the right knee down. Step the hands back to get the pressure off the hands momentarily. Use this free left hand to go pick up the left foot and ankle. Step it up a little higher on the mat. Replace your hands on the mat up top. Relift that right knee. Pivot or turn the right heel to the floor behind you. Step the hands back, putting more weight in that back foot. We need balance there. Good security. I'm rising up onto the fingertips to help extend the torso so as long as it can be over this left thigh, crown is pointing forward. With the strength of the foot, leg, and hips, inhale, rise up, facing forward, reaching both arms straight up into the air. We'll be in warrior one. Hold for a couple breaths so the body can get used to this second version of warrior one on this left side. Now, inhale. And exhale, just turn your torso towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. If you need to, adjust that right foot, which I'm doing now. Taking a look at this left knee, lunging, shin is going straight up and down. That knee is not going past the ankle. Let's take our side angle pose. Reaching forward, angled upper body, rotate the arm, so the left arm reaching downward. I'm just bracing my left hand against the inner left thigh while the right hand's reaching into the air. Again, I feel the good strength occurring in the legs, but even all the way down to the feet. They feel firm and strong on the ground. Okay, we're going to come back up to our warrior two. Place hands on hips. And we're going to extend that left leg. Again, that same energy of rising up through the torso. Let's take our triangle pose. Let's take the arms back out to the side. Reach out over that straight left leg now. Rotate the arms. Same thing. My left hand is even just resting on top of the thigh, right above the knee. Right hand into the air. So this is our triangle pose. Holding for a few breaths so you can allow that nice stretch and lengthening sensation in the left hamstrings. And we'll get ready for our flow, just as we did on the first side. So the first thing we'll do is we'll bend the left knee into a lunge. Keeping that alignment, we come up, pass through a warrior two to reverse the warrior, left hand reaching into the air. Moving into what I'm calling our reversed triangle, reach up, extend the left leg. You might even feel a change through the left side of the body. And then rotate the arms, tip it over, left hand down, right hand up as a return to triangle. 2 more times, flowing. Bend the left knee, sink. Strength to rise back up, pass through warrior two, reverse your warrior, left hand into the air. Keep reaching up to help extend left leg. Reverse triangle, coming back up, or rotating the arms, left hand down, right hand up. Let's do that one more time. Starting in triangle, lunge, rise up, warrior two, reverse warrior, extending. Let's come back, nice and tall here. Bend the left knee, a return to warrior two. Here comes our windmill. We bring the right hand up and around, reaching forward with the arms turned to face forward. Lunge, or actually fold. Bring your hands down to the floor, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you, press palms into the mat, slide or pull left foot back. Here's our plank pose. Hold here for a moment, strong straight line. Let's bring the knees to the floor. Sit back briefly in hero with flattened feet, just a quick one. Again, off the hands, but then off to the side. We're swinging the legs around to the front. We need to get into our back bend. Sit in the center of your mat. You're going to lie down onto your back. Be sure you've got your books or blocks ready to go. Easy to grab. I'm just adjusting my mat here. When you're ready, go ahead and lie down. Go ahead and hug the knees into chest. And here's a nice easy flow. You can just rock left and right, or forward and back. I even create a figure 8. Just a little circle with the knees, which affects the low back and hips. And just breathing naturally. A little flow for the feet. Just circle the ankles, flex and point. Circles, if you can, wiggle your toes. Let's do something else here. Holding onto your knees or shins, flex the feet lightly, and then just pull the legs apart. Okay, just out to the left side and to the right side. A little gentle stretch for the inner legs. Maybe 3 breaths here. And I really just brought them open just to the point where my elbows are resting on the floor. My palms are open and my knees are just actually resting in my hands, just to hold the legs open. Now bring the knees back together. Go ahead and set the feet onto the floor. Make sure they feel secure on the floor. Release the legs, but grab your blocks. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lift your hips high enough so you can slide your books or blocks underneath you
And we'll take a seat. Just relax here. Make any adjustments with the feet underneath you, your arms and shoulders. Maybe even really just coming to a restful place. What I like about this pose, because we are sitting on the props, is that it's less engaging than a typical bridge pose, a typical back bend, when there's much more engagement of the body. You can try it out. All you have to do is just lift your hips away from the blocks and you'll notice. So you can try it out if you'd like. And then just come back to this resting space. And just really allowing the whole front body to open. As I mentioned earlier, if you are in a situation where you find yourself sitting for long periods of time, we get stiff. Okay, not a lot of movement. We can get particularly stiff, maybe in our backs, even in our hips, hip flexors, our legs. And so I like to think of bridge pose and other back bends as a way to open up the front body, a kind of a counter positioning of the body, countering all that sitting that we do. All right, ready to come out of the pose? Just press feet into the ground. You'll feel the body energized when you lift the hips high enough to remove the blocks now. Come all the way down to the ground softly and safely. Go ahead and extend the legs out front, arms reaching behind you. A nice lengthening for the entire body. Go ahead and hug the knees into chest. Now, if you are comfortable with this, you can rock forward and back, enough momentum to rock your way up to a seated position, or roll to one side to press yourself up to seated, which I'm doing here. So I'm just rolling to the side, press, lift. We'll take a seat here. We're going to move into boat pose, a version of boat I like to do in soft flow. So we'll keep the knees bent here. They're kind of at 90 degrees in a way. Flexed feet, heels on the ground. Holding on to the bend of the knees, and use that as a way to lift yourself up so you're straight up and down through the spine and torso as if you're leaning up against a wall. Inhale to grow even taller. Exhale, draw belly in to engage, because you're going to kind of lean back. Imagine you're sitting in a reclining chair and just leaning back a little bit. You don't have to go too far. And what that will do automatically is engage your core muscles, your abdominal system. Now you could challenge that a little bit more by leaning back a little bit more. You really can choose how far back you go. But remember, think about that 60 to 70% mark. You certainly can go back further, which will just be more work, that's all. But if you can maybe be at that 60% place in boat pose, you might find, oh, I can actually hold here longer. Giving the torso, your belly muscles, chest muscles even, that opportunity to engage, hold, and even get a little stronger, because you're holding a little bit longer. When I think about this, because I do some weightlifting, sometimes it's not always about lifting the heaviest weight. Sometimes it is about lifting lighter weights, and I can do more reps, meaning I could do more repetitions with a lighter weight. Kind of the same concept here, because they're both quite beneficial. All right, let's rise back up. Let's come back to our cobbler's pose or bound angle. Sit up nice and tall to get some extension through the spine, and a way to kind of relax the back and hips after boat pose, just lean forward or fold forward a little bit. We'll just take some deep breaths. Now we're getting near the end of our practice. When we go back, we are going to lie back down, and we're going to do a twist in a moment. After we do a hip opener, we'll get into a twist, and we'll make that flow, but very gently and carefully. All right, 2 more breaths. Maybe feeling this light stretch in the inner legs. If your back is rounded, feeling that in the back body. Go ahead and lift your chin to help re-extend spine. Again, use your hands on the mat to help lift yourself up so you're nice and tall. And just hold here for a moment. Take a breath.
Always nice to return to the feeling and the flow of the breath. Being sure you're still sitting in the center of your mat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. And once again, just hug knees to chest. Let's go back to that nice circle here, massaging. Let's get into our hip openers. We did this earlier, not too long ago. We lie down, draw the knees in, holding onto the knees or shins, flexing the feet lightly, and take the legs wide. You can do that again and hold here. If you want to add on to this, you can start kicking the feet up towards the ceiling, maybe holding on to the shins or ankles, or if you're able, the soles of the feet. If the feet feel like they're too far away, just hold on to your ankles. Again, a light flex of the feet. And just draw the legs down towards the floor on either side of your body. Again, not forcefully, but just enough where you start to feel this a bit more in the inner legs and maybe your hips and low back. Here's a little gentle flow you could also add if it feels right. A rocking left and right sensation. Okay? So we have some variations of our hip opener. You can do the happy baby version, or what I'm going to call the frog version, where just relax the feet and just hold onto the shins or knees, and that same rocking sensation. I think this feels a little bit more comfortable. All right, let's get to our twists. Let's bring the knees together. Actually, bring the feet to the floor. Can you still reach your blocks? Okay, see if you can get your blocks, because we're going to need those. Mine are too far away, so I'm going to grab those. And place them on either side of you. Okay, because this might help with these twists eventually. Okay, go ahead and draw knees into chest. Carefully, slowly start bringing both knees over to the left side and let that left leg land on the block or whatever you're using. Then extend your right arm off to the right side. Let's hold here for a few moments just to get into the feeling of this twist. Again, knees to the left, right arm to the right. Take some breaths, settle in, even relax as best as you can. This is nice for the hips, really nice for the low back. Another area of the body that can get a little stiff on us. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to make our way up to center. Let's hold center just for the realignment of the spine. And then we'll take the knees down to the right side. Here, maybe allowing the right leg to stop right there on that block. Then extend the left arm off to the left side. We'll hold here for several breaths. And so we're just going to create in a moment that flow of going back and forth, kind of like windshield wipers, with the knees to get into this twist. Now only do these movements. We'll play with it just to see how it feels for you. Because if it doesn't feel quite right, if it feels like it's kind of maybe a little aggravating or a little stiff in the low back to create that motion, you can just continue the holding of the posture. 2 more breaths here. Let's go ahead and bring the knees back up to center. Catch the knees or shins in your hands. And see if you can kind of hold the legs just like this. Just hold them in place on their own as you bring your arms out to the side. Okay, extending out to the side, really just to brace yourself. As you now will do this little windshield wiper flow of the knees to one side then the other for our spinal twist. So inhale here. Exhale, take the knees to left, and they may not even touch the floor or block. That's okay. That's an exhale. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale up. Exhale to the left. Inhale back up. Exhale to the right. Let's just do 2 more on both sides. Inhale back up to center. Take your time with this, so it's okay if you're behind. Exhale to the left. Inhale back up. Now, check in with your back. If you feel like you're finished, you can pause. You can stop anytime. I'm exhaling, going to the right. If you feel finished, just pause, because this could be, a little aggravating for the low back. Just keep checking in with the back. I'm doing it one last time. Exhale to the left. Inhale back up. Exhale to the right. Now, inhale back up to center. With the exhale, I'm just setting the feet onto the floor and just letting the whole body relax. Because that is a lot of movement. Okay, just that twisting sensation. Mild and slowly as it was, it still can be a bit strenuous. Let's use that word, a little bit strenuous for the low back. So if you didn't do all 4 of those on both sides, don't worry about it. If you're able to do a couple of them and it felt just fine, excellent. All right, let's go ahead and extend the legs out front. Let's do one more stretch. Legs out front, reach the arms behind you to lengthen and stretch. And then go ahead and bring your arms down by your side. Let the legs relax completely. Feel your whole body just kind of melt into the floor. Disengaging, relaxing. Feel free to keep your eyes open. You can keep your gaze upward or close your eyes and gaze inward. So having moved through this freedom of the flow, feeling your body freely flow. And now that we're back in stillness, feeling that same freedom of the flow of the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. No need to move just yet. Just keep focusing on your breathing. Return to the awareness of your breath. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like, feeling the full relaxation of your mind and your body, holding here in Shavasana. Even as I end the practice, feel free to stay right where you are. No need to move too quickly. Even when I come up to seated, you can stay lying down. And once again, return to the awareness of your breath. And with this awareness, take 5 slow, deep breaths. And as you're breathing, feeling movement, return to your body. As movement returns, take your time, move as slowly as you can, and roll onto one side of your body, gently here in this nurturing pose. And then press yourself up to seated. Sitting up nice and tall, take a breath. And then one more fluid motion together. And inhale, taking both arms up into the air. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. And take one more breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.